Listening to that is LifePod founder Sir Ray Avery, who I believe is joining us now live. Are you there, Sir Ray?
I am. Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. What's your reaction to the fact that Eden Park has basically said this is just too expensive for us to continue with?
Well, I'm gutted, where we've landed, and I need to, right off the bat, apologise to a few people. Firstly, I need to apologise to Nick Salter and the board of the Eden Park Trust, because it was in fact me that approached them. It wasn't that they had a Trojan horse at all. It was I met Nick through a friend of a friend. He just had a daughter called Anastasia. I've got a daughter called Anastasia. We had a coffee together, and I said, look, Nick, why don't we do something really marvellous? Let's just put on this concert and do a Live Aid concert. And I sold him the pup, really. I sold him the idea. And he said, look, this is going to get really messy, Ray, because you don't know these people from the Neighbourhoods Association. They're very powerfully connected politically and at local government. And I said, no, that can't be right. I said, look, nobody's going to stop us from doing something that's wonderful and will save children's lives.
Okay.
And I was wrong.
Okay. Why don't you just do it at Mount Smart, where they have concerts all the time and where you are welcome and where there are simply not these hurdles to get over?
Well, it was my fault because I had put together a whole program of things that could only happen at Eden Park, and that included the relationship with the sponsor, the way that we could make money and monetarise the concerts from the private suites that they have there. We needed a big open plan area so that we could do competitions around gumby throwing competitions and so on. Because right up and down the country, we were going to do a whole lot of events that were celebrating us as a country and our innovation. And so I put it together as a package that would work, and I can't pick it up and take it somewhere else. So it's dead, it's gone.
Can we talk about the innovation, the life pods? Where are you at with those?
Well, we did a fundraising campaign and over two and a half years and raised, what we said in that fundraising campaign was we needed to raise $2 million to get into production, and that meant that we had to do R&D.
Right. What stage of production are you in?
No, but that's what I'm just coming on to, John. So that was that stage. Now we've handed the keys to the manufacturing to a company in India, and they are an ISO certified factory who can manufacture it. So everything that we needed to do to get certification has been done, and now they've handed over to the factory that they need to now get the auditors from the UK to come. And
so what would this money have been for?
Well, that's a good point. The point is that there's a manufacturer there who's got the incubators. They've made pilot scale production. They're going through the validation process. And what will happen is that they won't make an incubator unless they have an order for it.
Right. Well, you're obviously aware of the newsroom coverage this week. And the stuff that Sam Morgan's been saying, the stuff lots of people who wouldn't be named have been saying about the transparency surrounding this operation. Sam Morgan asked for more details about how money was being spent and moved between charitable and commercial entities controlled by Avery. I'm quoting from newsroom verbatim here. And for return for this transparency, he'd offered to write off the $100,000 loan made in 2009. However, relations deteriorated and Avery repaid the loan. Now, I'm sorry to use your surname, but I'm reading verbatim from newsroom. There seems to be confusion about where money is going. There seems to be confusion about transparency. There seems to be confusion about where you're at.
Well, I can talk to the Sam Morgan issue. What happened was we had a patent that needed to be filled in a rapid period of time. And I phoned up Sam and I said, look, if we don't get this patent filed and continue the patent, we'll lose the patent. So we didn't have the money in the bank. And Sam made us sign a contract for $100,000, I think it was. And the caveat for that was if we didn't repay the loan within a certain time frame, we would have to pay him back $10,000. And so that was all fine. I was very relieved that we could actually keep the patents going. But however, we didn't get the money in the bank in time to meet the deadline that Sam had given us. So I went to my board and explained the situation, and our lawyer said you should never have signed this contract because no person can profit under the charitable acts from a charity. So you've stuck up. So what I did was I paid the $10,000 interest to Sam, to make the problem go away.
Okay. We've heard from a Checkpoint listener, Clive Beecham, who emailed us in saying he made a donation for 4 life pods. Now, we've just called him, our producer Bridget Burke called him. Can we just play you what he said, Sir Ray?
3 years ago, we donated $10,000 to Ray Avery's charity under the impression that we were paying for 4 life pods, and they were costed at about $2,500 each. I had seen his advertisements or promotion of this, and we were very taken in and thought this would be a great way to make a donation. And these life pods were to be distributed to the islands for use up there, and we were also told that our names would be on the life pods. So later on, we found out that the pods had not yet been produced and that our not inconsiderable donation had disappeared into some sort of developmental void. Since then, we've had no feedback or follow-up as to how our donation was used. I would be very careful about donating to this charity, and in particular, Ray Avery's tug on our heartstrings of saving 1 million babies.
Now, Sir Ray, that's pretty tough, but the fact of the matter is you told us earlier on that these things are now going into production in India. Clive Beecham's telling us he donated $10,000 3 years ago for 4 life pods. And I just wonder how much money you have raised for life pods that don't actually yet roll off the production line.
Well, what we said was when we were doing that fundraising for that $2 million, we said we needed to raise that money to get the incubator into production, into commercial production. So we made that quite clear to the donors. Those people that did donate that money, and there's been schools and so on, they are the first cabs off the rank for this production that we're now doing. So we may have been inept in, communicating those things to that people, but all those people that have donated money that they thought they were going to get an incubator will get an incubator.
So how much money have you raised so far for the life pods?
Well, we raised about in terms of the general public, about 1.9. We asked for 2 million to get it in
Absolutely,
production.
which is a good sum of money, and people enthusiastically support this. But you needed more money from the Eden Park concert to get it off the production line in India. So the
the issue with Eden Park was that if you placed an order today, then that could go into that production schedule. So what we were saying is it's taken us this time to get to the point where we can actually put it into production. It's in production. You can actually order one, but he won't make one in India until we give him an order. So basically, we've got to play catch up.
Right. When do you think we will see them going to save the lives that you have talked about saving?
Well, it's February, and that's why we're working ahead of ourselves. In February, we were trying to get to the life pod points in time, for the concert, and then we could actually take that money. Because of the sponsorship arrangements we had, we didn't have to have any, expenses associated with the life pod.
Sir Ray Avery, we really appreciate you fronting this evening. Thank you so much, and for answering those questions. We're very grateful for your time.